You're standing in a forest, a massive, ancient forest that stretches in every direction for thousands of miles. There are 1 trillion trees. The conditions are perfect for life. And there's not a single bird. No insects, no rustling in the undergrowth, nothing. You've been walking for hours. The silence isn't peaceful. It's wrong. Something that should be here isn't. Now replace the forest with the universe, replace the trees with stars, and ask yourself why it's so quiet. Here's why that question should bother you personally. You live on a planet orbiting one star, and your one star sits in a galaxy of somewhere between 100 and 400 billion others. A huge number of those stars have planets. A huge number of those planets could hold liquid water. That's not speculation, that's what your telescopes have already confirmed. But the numbers you're about to hear aren't the scary part. The scary part is what they force you to conclude. Now here's the thing your brain doesn't want to process. The universe is 13.8 billion years old. Your planet is only 4.5 billion. That means the universe had a 9 billion year head start before you even showed up. Before the first single-celled organism twitched on Earth, the cosmos had enough time for entire civilizations to rise, expand, and fill the galaxy. And the math backs this up. If just one civilization anywhere in the Milky Way figured out interstellar travel, even at a crawl, a fraction of light speed, models show they could colonize the entire galaxy in 1 to 2 million years. That sounds like a long time. It's not. On a cosmic clock, it's a rounding error. So right now, you should be living in a galaxy that's crowded, signals everywhere, megastructures around stars, probes drifting through your solar system, evidence, obvious, undeniable evidence that someone was here before you. Instead, you look up and find nothing. The man behind this question wasn't guessing. Enrico Fermi won the Nobel Prize. He built the first nuclear reactor. When he did math in his head at a lunch table in 1950, the people around him took it seriously. And here's what most people get wrong about that moment. Fermi wasn't making small talk. He ran the numbers right there between bites, and his own rough calculation told him something was deeply off. The probabilities were too high for silence. His question wasn't casual, it was alarmed. A decade later, astronomer Frank Drake turned that alarm into a formula, the Drake equation. You don't need to memorize it. What matters is what it does. It takes everything we know about stars, planets, and the conditions for life, chains them together, and asks how many detectable civilizations should exist right now. The full equation involves variables scientists genuinely argue about. This is a simplification, but the point isn't the exact output. The point is that even when you drag every slider to its most pessimistic setting, you still get a number far greater than 0. And 0 is exactly what you've got. Not "we found a little," not "the evidence is ambiguous." Over 60 years of searching, radio telescopes scanning millions of frequencies, space probes mapping your solar system, satellites cataloging thousands of exoplanets, and the count of confirmed evidence for intelligent life beyond Earth is exactly 0. You're staring at a galaxy that should be full, and it's empty. Here's the trap. Here's the specific place your thinking goes wrong. Your instinct right now is to say, we just haven't looked hard enough. The universe is enormous. Maybe they're too far away. Maybe your instruments aren't sensitive enough. Maybe you just need more time. That feels reasonable, but it's the trap. Because you're framing this as your job, as if you need to find them. Flip it. Any civilization with even a million-year head start, and the universe offers billions of years of head start, wouldn't need to be found. They'd already be here. Not necessarily knocking on your door, but everywhere. The math of exponential expansion guarantees it. One civilization, enough time, and the entire galaxy fills up. That's not optimism, that's just how exponentials work. The silence isn't an evidence of a gap in your search. The silence is the data, and it's telling you something you don't want to hear. This is where the Fermi Paradox stops being an astronomy question and starts becoming personal. Scientists have proposed over 70 solutions to this paradox, but most of them funnel into one category, and it's the one you don't want to think about. Maybe civilizations don't last. Maybe there's a wall, some barrier that every civilization hits before it reaches the stars. Physicist Robin Hansen calls it the Great Filter, a step somewhere between dead chemistry and galaxy-spanning civilization that is so brutally hard, almost nobody makes it through. So here's the question the Great Filter drops in your lap. Is that wall behind you or in front of you? Did you already survive the hard part, or is it coming? And this is the part that should genuinely unsettle you. If tomorrow a rover on Mars digs up fossilized bacteria, if we find even a single microbe on Europa, that discovery, which would feel like the greatest moment in science, would actually be terrible news, for you specifically, because it would mean life isn't the hard part. Simple organisms pop up easily, which means the filter, the wall that kills civilizations, is still ahead. Philosopher Nick Bostrom, who formalized this reasoning, said it plainly. Finding alien microbes would dramatically increase the probability that something wipes out every civilization before it spreads. The emptier the universe looks, the better your odds are. Silence isn't scary because you're alone. Silence is the best-case scenario. Sit with that for a second. The most hopeful reading of a cold, empty universe is that you're the first, that you already cleared the filter, that you're the lucky ones. But there's a third possibility, and it inverts everything. What if the universe isn't silent? What if you're the one who's deaf? Some physicists argue that a civilization millions of years ahead of you wouldn't use radio waves any more than you use smoke signals. Their communication, their energy use, their very existence might operate on principles you haven't discovered yet. You'd be standing in a crowded room where everyone is talking in a language you don't have ears for. So the Fermi Paradox doesn't hand you one answer, it hands you a menu, and every item on that menu rewrites what it means to be you on this planet right now. 3 possibilities. Nobody knows which one is true, and honestly, that's the point, because each one changes what you should do with your life. The first possibility, you're the first. Life, or at least intelligent life, is so staggeringly rare that you might be looking at a galaxy where nobody has ever gotten this far before. The silence is the sound of an empty stage, and you just walked onto it. If that's true, everything your species does from this point forward is the opening act of the entire universe's story. No pressure. The second possibility, the wall is ahead. Civilizations rise, build, discover, and then every single time they hit something they can't survive. War, environmental collapse, technology that outpaces wisdom. The silence isn't an empty stage, it's a graveyard, and you're walking through it, assuming you're different. The third possibility, they're already here. Whether they're watching and choosing not to interfere, what scientists call the zoo hypothesis, or whether they simply exist in ways your physics can't detect, the universe might be teeming with life you're fundamentally blind to. The silence is your limitation, not theirs. 3 skies, same stars, completely different futures depending on which one is real. Tonight, when it gets dark, go outside, just for a minute. Every star you see with your naked eye, that's maybe 4,000 points of light. Your galaxy has 100 billion more behind them, and around those stars, there are more planets than every grain of sand on every beach you've ever walked on. And in the next video, we're going to look at what happens when a civilization doesn't just hit the filter, it builds one on purpose and aims it at you. But for now, just stand there, because the silence you hear right now, between the wind and the traffic and the noise in your own head, is the exact same silence Fermi heard at that lunch table in 1950. And 75 years later, not one person on this planet has been able to answer him.